let's get to it and test our X700. 3, 2, 1. Hi there, Tin from K-On. Today, we're testing our X700 high performance underbody protection.
Excellent. Can I get you to grab that crate, the black one on the bottom tier? Can you open it?
That's funny as. You even got a little badge in there you sewed it on. Is this going to be standard issue? I'm going to get my Mythbusters vibe going. We're doing testing today. So when you're looking at protecting your vehicle, there are a few considerations you might want to consider. Firstly, you want to make sure you're protecting the critical components underneath your vehicle. And after that, you probably want to consider things such as weight and strength. There are many factors that affect the strength and performance of your underbody guards. Now, one of those is the actual design, and that's why we put folds, flanges and welds on all our underbody protection, because it vastly increases the strength and performance of these guards. Now, we've got a couple ways to show you how this works and how much of a difference it makes. So what we have here is a simple piece of steel, and while we don't use steel quite this thin, it's a really good demonstration of when I step on this or load it up, how easily it will bend if it's just a flat sheet of steel. So you can see how that didn't really hold much of a load at all. Now, when I put some very simple folds on the same piece of steel, it increases the strength and load capacity of this immensely. And when I stand on it now, it'll easily carry my load. So that's the bent one, and you can see how easily that bent. And this one here, all good. See, look, it's all straight. I think I'd have to sort of really.
Can it fit two of us?
It's fine. One back on. I can bend it back. I try to do it without it sort of slipping away. See, I'm not even putting my full weight on that, and then it bends. So to demonstrate some of these design features that we incorporate into our UVP, I've got a cardboard cutout of one of our underbody protection, the flat pattern. So folding up flanges helps increase the strength across the front here. As you can see, that's fairly self-explanatory, and because we've got two sort of planes, we've got another fold here too. Now, this helps stiffen up those sections, but if we don't join them together in this position, you can see that these folds don't really add to the strength, and this can bend quite easily. So what we can do, and what we can do to simulate a weld, is we're going to join this with a little bit of cardboard, and you'll see, not cardboard, cardboard tape, and you'll see how much better the underbody protection, or this cardboard protection, retains its shape. Let's go and do that. So to make sure we get full penetration, I'm going to tape both sides. Okay, there you go. And you see it retains its shape, and just say there's a bit of a load pushing up on that, it pushes back through and holds that much better than if that was not joined. So that's a lot better, and you can feel that, you know, it's transferring the load back through there, even though the cardboard's a bit floppy now. Now, this sort of geometry is fairly common on front guards, having that sort of a ramp and then the flat section, and having these folds on the side. So we always make sure we weld up those joins to help transfer the load back to the mounting points. So if I were to cut this open, you can see how easy that is to now bend. And it's not uncommon that some underbody protection will not do that join. So just keep an eye out for that and notice how much of a difference it makes. So going back to the steel example earlier, we can simulate this joining of the flanges by putting a little nick or slot in between the two flanges to show how important it is to join those, especially when you've got different transitions on the underbody protection. Now I'm going to go ahead and stand on this, and doing this actually makes it worse because it concentrates all the forces in the middle. So let's go ahead and step on this one. That actually was easier to bend than the one that didn't even have the flanges, because as you can see, this has stayed nice and stiff, but all the load's transferred right to this weak point. So really important to join those flanges. Having all three samples here, it's very easy to see the difference. Now the flat plate, it bent, but it bent back, and this is the one with the flanges there, retained its shape even with a couple of us on there. Now the one here with the little notches, with the flanges not joined, it actually deformed quite a bit and it's not going back. So one part of avoiding bending is strength. We want our guards to be strong to offer protection. We also want them to be resilient so they return back to their original shape. So strength can be determined by the type of material, be it steel, aluminium, or stainless, the grade of the material, and also the thickness of the material. You'll often hear people talk about grades of material. Now what they're referring to is the amount of stress a material can withstand before permanently bending. Now we don't want things to permanently bend. A 250 grade material is far more susceptible to bending than say a 700 grade material like our X700. Now that can withstand a much greater load and still return back to its original shape. So, it's one thing to talk about materials, but we want to take it one step further and do some actual testing to make it a bit more relatable to, say, when you're going forward driving and your vehicle drops down onto a rock. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do some rough calculations and figure out what that impact energy might be so we can replicate that by dropping a weight, this time a kettlebell, onto those materials. So let's go ahead and do some calculations. I'm going to draw upon my high school physics. So what we're going to look at is potential energy. Vehicle dropping down onto a rock, drops from a certain height with a certain mass. We're going to simulate that with a weight, being at less than a vehicle, but dropping from a higher height. So we need to see what the height that needs to be. So one scenario is you're going forward driving and you lift a wheel and you drop back down and your vehicle slips into the ruts. So let's say your vehicle, say, is about 2,500 kg, your GVM, and your vehicle's dropping one wheel, you've got 3 wheels on the ground. So let's say the weight that is falling down on the bash plates is, say, about a quarter of that. So let's say the mass that's falling is a quarter of that, 625 kg. And your depth of your average rut, say about 20 centimeters. So the height that it's falling, 0.2 meters. So that's the scenario we're going to try to simulate or replicate. Now, potential energy, pretty simple. Potential energy is equal to mass times gravitational acceleration times height. Okay? So we want to make sure that the potential energy of the vehicle dropping onto the ground is similar to our kettlebell or our mass dropping onto our test samples. So, if I go mass of the vehicle times gravitational acceleration times height that the vehicle drops is going to be equal to the mass of my kettlebell, mk, times gravitational acceleration times the height that we need to drop the kettlebell. This is our equation. Now, if I remember my algebra back from high school, I can do this. Rearrange my equation so that the mass of the vehicle times the height the vehicle needs to be dropped. I'll move that mass back over to here, divide both sides by the mass of the kettlebell. Will give me the height that I need to drop my kettlebell. Yeah. Okay, we just have to plug the numbers in now. So, kettlebell, the one we've got is 32 kilograms. It's the biggest one we could find. Mass of the vehicle, we'll put in 625 times the height, 0.2, divided by the mass of the kettlebell, 32 kg. That'll give us, I worked this out earlier, but I know this is going to be 3, oh my gosh, look at my 3.9 meters. So I need to drop the kettlebell from 3.9 meters to get an equivalent potential energy to a vehicle dropping one wheel into a rut and hitting my bash plate. So with that in mind, we've sourced a 32 kilogram kettlebell and K on red, of course. We've made this test rig so we can consistently replicate the impact force of dropping this on each of the samples. So what we have here are some samples of materials that you would typically get for underbody protection. We have our 4mm grade 250 and 350 steels. Now they offer extra protection, but generally through the thickness of the material, being 4mm, can be a bit heavy. We've got stainless steel, 3mm and 4mm. They're quite common as well. They're corrosion resistant, but sort of a similar strength to the 4mm mild steel. The other option we have is 6mm aluminium. It's thicker to add that extra strength because aluminium can be a little bit weaker than the other steels. And finally, we've got the 3mm X700 700 grade material. Now what we're going to do, we're going to bolt these to this test rig. We're going to drop this 32 kilogram kettlebell from a height, and we're going to compare how much permanent deformation we have on these sample pieces. So let's get to it and test our X700. Oh, this is 4mm grade 250. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. What do you reckon? It's going to be 28.
27 and a half.
27 and a half.
That's so ridiculous.
Do I? So this is 4mm grade 350. Dropping 3, 2, 1. Woo! That bounced. I think that's a little bit less than the 250 grade. What do you reckon? 26 millimeters. 3mm. 304 stainless, 3mm stainless. 3mm stainless, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Whoa, look at that one. Whoa, look at that one. So 3mm stainless steel, 63.5. Twice as bad as the 4mm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The bolts stopped it from going more.
Well, it goes to show you that having a stronger material helps your chassis not move as well. Okay. 4mm stainless steel. Here we go, 4mm stainless steel. Oh, I'm getting good at this. So my expectations will probably fare a little bit worse than the 4mm 250 and 350 grade, because stainless steel is just a little bit weaker. 29 millimeters, my guess. And that's more. What do you reckon?
39.
39 millimeter. So 4mm aluminium. Here we go. 4mm aluminium. Woo! I don't know, I reckon at least 30 millimeters. Considering that's 6mm as well, 6mm more? Oh,
38.
38 millimeters. Yeah, that's worse than the 4mm stainless, isn't it? Or similar, very similar. And the problem with aluminium, it's hard to get the folds and the bends and stuff in it to brace it up. Now we've got our 3mm X700 material, high performance, high strength. Let's go. Woo, that bounced as well. Okay, what do you reckon?
21.5.
21.5 millimeters, X700. So that's better than the 4mm, better than the 6mm. So this is my old 250 bash plate. It's got a bit of damage from, I think it was Genoan, wasn't it? So we're just gonna have a bit of fun and see how much damage the kettlebell's gonna do to this one. I think I can only bolt down one bolt. There's our factory bash plates. I think there might be about 1.5 millimeters. Not expecting this to be very pretty, but it'll be a bit of fun. Ready? Woohoo! That folded up on itself, didn't it? The kettlebell didn't bounce anywhere.
Need a bigger ruler.
Anything else you want to smash?
Anything else you want to smash?
I don't know. Watermelons are good. So we've done all our testing, and these are the actual test specimens after they've been impacted with the kettlebell at a sort of controlled impact energy. Now there's a few ways we can compare this. What I'll do first is I'll compare all the 4mm. So this is 4mm 250 4mm 350, and 4mm stainless. Now, the 4mm stainless actually performed the worst out of the 4mm material. It's because stainless does have a slightly lower yield strength compared to the 250 and the 350. But you can see they're pretty bent. Next thing we can do is we can look at stainless steel. So this is 3mm stainless steel and 4mm stainless steel, and of course you can tell the 3mm has sort of performed poorly, and it's probably got the most deformation out of all the samples we have here. The other comparison we can make, and this is fairly obvious, 3mm stainless steel and 3mm X700, you can see the difference. 700 grade material, twice the strength of, or even more than the 3mm stainless, and see how much of a difference and how much extra deformation you get from the lower grade material. Now the other comparison, which is an interesting one, aluminium 6mm to the X700 material. Now you'd choose aluminium for the lightweight, and the X700 is a lighter weight option as well, but you can see how much better the high strength 3mm X700 material performed compared to the 6mm aluminium. You can see how much that's bent compared to the X700 material. That could be a good fruit bowl. So this test has been good, but it's not super scientific. There's lots of different variables, and it's just a good way to put into perspective the differences that material makes. So sometimes when it's bolted up to the bottom of a vehicle, you can't tell the difference between the bash plates, but this gives you an idea of how much material selection as well as design can make a difference to the performance of your underbody protection. So there's one final thing we want to have a look at, is the weight. Now we've got 3 sets. We've got a standard 250 bash plates, X700 bash plates, and some 4mm bash plates. So we'll go ahead and weigh those. Now of course the factory ones are quite light. This one's actually plastic. So this is the sump guard. So what have we got there? 1.8, 1.85 plus the front guard. How do I do this? The front guard there, 3.9 kilos. 1.8 plus 3.9. So not a lot of weight in those. Next thing we'll weigh are the 3mm X700. So this is the sump guard. We got 6.3 kg. We'll go grab the front guard. This is the front guard, and we've got 9.2 kg. 9.2. Now we don't do a 4mm for the 250, but I'm going to grab some 150 4mm guards and we'll weigh those for a bit of a comparison. This is the sump guard for a 150. 8.8 kg for the sump. There's a bit of weight in this one. 14.6 kg. 14.7. 14.7. There you go. Now, having lighter guards helps with the install too, because imagine if you had to remove those plates when you're on your back underneath the vehicle, having those lighter guards makes a big difference. So while weight is a really important consideration, it's actually the strength to weight ratio. So now these are very light, but they're also very bendy and don't offer the protection that something like this would. So consideration around weight, we need to sort of balance the strength to weight. There you have it. If you have any other ideas or any other ways you want us to test our X700 underbody protection, let us know. Now, as you can see, there's a lot more to bash plates than just bolting a piece of steel to the bottom of your vehicle. If you want to check out how to install the underbody protection, have a look at our other videos. Otherwise, visit our website, kayon.com.au. Hi there. Hi there. Tin from...
Oh yeah.
Hi there, it's Tin from Kayon.
What do scientists wear underneath? Do they wear shorts or
Shorts?
do they wear?
You need oil stains and stuff. You just hear Yen's laughter.
Popped a what?
You popped your collar. You're not a regular scientist, you're a cool scientist.
Vampire scientist.
Why do I feel like you're in your element more than you've ever been?
No, I was going to say it feels like, play school. Yeah.